External Affairs Minister Jaishankar on his first visit to China in 5 years met Chinese President Xi Jinping on the sidelines of the SCO Summit. Both leaders discussed a range of issues. The External Affairs Minister spoke candidly about China blocking Indian businesses. He said China must avoid trade restrictions and roadblocks it has imposed on India, also stressing the need to normalize people-to-people exchanges to boost cooperation and mutual interest. The External Affairs Minister was referring to China's control over rare earth material exports to India. This export curb poses a threat to India's EV sector. It's also blocked tunnel boring machines, which is crucial for the Indian bullet train project. China has restricted high-tech civilian machinery exports, imposing bureaucratic hurdles on Indian businesses operating in China.
As neighboring nations and major economies in the world today, there are various facets and dimensions of our ties. Measures towards normalizing our people-to-people exchanges can certainly foster mutually beneficial cooperation. It is also essential in this context that restrictive trade measures and roadblocks are avoided. I hope to discuss these issues with you in further detail.
It's a concern that has been raised by China. Categorically urging an open dialogue with China was External Affairs Minister Jaishankar. Today he is met with Chinese President Xi Jinping, asking China to avoid these trade roadblocks and how it doesn't help the Indian situation. China, remember, has restricted high-tech civilian machinery exports, imposing bureaucratic hurdles on Indian businesses operating in China. These are concerns that have categorically been raised by S. Jaishankar. He's met with the Chinese president on the sidelines of the SCO Summit. He spoke candidly about China blocking Indian businesses. He said China must avoid these trade restrictions and roadblocks. Talk to us, Pranay, about the kind of concerns vis-a-vis trade that China, or rather India, has raised with China. Of course, this among a range of other issues that have been touched upon in this meeting. Pranay.
Sneha, indeed, you rightly pointed out that trade remains an important issue between India and China. And if you see the spectrum of India-China trade relation, over $130 billion worth of trade, but it's heavily lopsided in favor of China because there is a trade deficit, and it has remained a core concern for India. And that's why External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, while visiting China, did raise the issue regarding the trade restrictions put up by China, and especially in the context of the rare earth minerals, because we have seen that China controlled almost around 90% of the processing of the rare earth minerals, and therefore to access the rare earth minerals, India is facing trouble, and that's why the External Affairs Minister, while during his meeting with his Chinese counterpart, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi, he did raise this issue. Besides that, he also raised the issue of border peace and tranquility on the border. The disengagement and de-escalation process need to be completed to have a better relationship and a better understanding with China. And also, he did raise the issue of the exchange of hydrological data, because China has stopped sharing the hydrological data, especially in context of the Brahmaputra River with India, especially after the Galwan incident. You know, Sneha, that this meeting of External Affairs Minister Jaishankar, his visit of China is happening at a time, when India and China are trying to repair the relationship, post a meeting of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Chinese President Xi Jinping in October 2024 in Kazan. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi is also likely to visit China for the SCO Summit. You know that External Affairs Minister is in China for the SCO Foreign Minister level meeting, and he did make a call on to the Chinese President Xi Jinping. He conveyed, the good wishes and compliments from the Indian leadership, from President Draupadi Murmu and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. But the issue remains, of concern for India as far as the terrorism issue is concerned, as far as the border peace and tranquility issue is concerned, and the mutual respect for the sensitivity is concerned. And therefore, External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar convey India's concern to China in respect of these issues, and also express the hope and expectation that with the upcoming meeting of the SR level talks, because Wang Yi wears two hats, because he is not only the foreign minister of China, but also he is a special representative for the Chinese President Xi Jinping on India-China boundary talks.
Okay.
And therefore, he is also likely to visit India to have a meeting with his Indian counterpart and NSA Ajit Doval.
All right, I'm going to leave it at that for the moment. Pranay Upadhyay getting us those details. Avoiding trade curbs, vital for normalization of ties is the message loud and clear from India to China.